Hello everyone, this is Talal Hussain. I hope all of you are doing great. This video is about how we can self-study for that maximum score or for that maximum score improvement, for that 1500, for that 1400, or maybe, even 1500 plus. Now, there are many students who I've been talking to and they really want to, study on their own. They want to self-study and there are questions how we can do that, what can be a plan. Many of them are, they're worried about how they can start, how they can move on, how they can get that improvement, how they can do it on their own. So I thought, I should make a video on, how you can self-study the entire SAT course on your own and get this, score that you're looking for. So in this video, we are going to talk about it. Now, obviously, there are a few things where you need help and it is recommended to get some help as well. But for most of it, if you're willing to, and if you can manage, and if you have, that grit and that consistency to go on, it is recommended, or it is, possible for you to work on your own. So I'll try to give you guys a short roadmap or a small plan that if you work it out, it is a possibility that you can, self-study and still get that score improvement that you're looking for, right? So the first thing that you, should look for when you're, going to self-study for the digital SAT is that, you should know where you stand, right? It's very important to know where you're standing. It's very important to know what your current score is. It's very important to know where you're starting from and, the target. But obviously that is all possible once you know before you start studying where you start, right? So it's always advisable. And I normally, tell my student to first, take a test. So that is very important. So what you should do is just download the Blue Book application from College Board website, and that Blue Book application is, it won't work on your mobile phone. So you'd have to, use your laptops or iPads. So just download that application and it has around 6 practice tests. So just take any one of them, preferably test 1, and just solve that test, right? So you've not studied anything or anything else. But I just recommend that, you take that test. So for example, after solving that test, you get a 1100, for example, or you get a 900, or maybe, you get a 1200, XYZ, whatever the score that you get. Now, this is the point where you're starting. So you know where you have to go. And once you know where you're starting from and where you have to go, you'll know the difference and you'll know, therefore, how much you have to work for it, right? So for example, if your score is 1100 and what you need is 1500, you would know from day one that you need an improvement of at least 400 points. Now, the plan that you will make has to be, in line with the improvement that will, with the, with the study that will get you around 400 points improvement. Because if that is not happening, obviously that is not going to be any point. And, if you move on with it, so after taking the test, it's actually, where everything begins. So you have to now understand that you have started, but you have to get to that 1500, and that won't be possible if you don't make a plan and, if you don't drill yourself and grind yourself with all the concepts that are there for the SAT. Now, the second thing that is important for you, obviously from the first step, now you have your 1100 and you have to get to that 1500. Now, the second thing that, I would advise you to do is that, you start working on all the topics, right? So you go on with it topically. And fortunately, for that, you have your College Board question bank where you can, select the subject, math or reading and writing. And even within the subject, you can you can select the skill set. And even within the skill set, you can select the difficulty level. So there are a lot of partitions that you can make when it comes to the type of questions that you have to follow, right? So I normally recommend that you go on with the approach. So for example, if you're starting with reading and writing, so the first component that comes on it is craft and structure. So if you're going on with craft and structure first, I would recommend that, you start up with words in context. You try and understand what type of questions are there. You try and understand how to solve those questions, what are the approaches. We can, make another video and we can talk about, how we can solve those questions. But that is, one of the ways you can go about it. Now, once you're done with the topic, for example, then you can take on some topical questions and, just solve those questions. You can also use, other resource materials. You can use Khan Academy as well. And other than that, you can use Chaajao's platform as well, right? So we have this application Chaajao, where, you'll get all the recorded course that we have. If you want to, purchase it, you can get all the information. And if, you keep it to the free version as well, you'll get a lot of information on our YouTube channel as well. And we'll try to, keep on helping you with the free model as well. But again, moving on. So you just take a test and then you move on with the topics. Then you start understanding all the topics. So you move on with words in context. Then you, learn about the structure. Then you learn about the cross-text connections. Then you move on to information and idea. And then, you talk about the claims, the inference questions, the maybe, the central idea questions. Then you learn the grammar rules. You move on to standard English conventions. Then you move on to expression of ideas. And, that's how you move on with it. And then, maybe you may move on to math, and then you do your algebra and problem solving and everything. So just go on with the topics. And as, you start understanding the approach to every topic, along with understanding the approach to every topic, just try and make sure that you're doing, related questions as well, because application of the topics is very important. So just, trying to understand what the topic is telling you, trying to, understand what the approach for every question is. Obviously, that is important, but along with that, you have to understand what type of question you have to, you get from that particular topic. So identification of the question and knowing how to approach that question practically, that is also very important. So on the initial stages, you have to go on with the topics, and you have to see the type of questions that you're getting from each type of, topic that you're doing as you move on. I normally at this stage recommend not to go for full length tests, depending on, how much time you're left with. Obviously, if you only have 15-20 days, then, maybe you can go for the full length test as well. But if you have, a couple of months maybe, or maybe you have 3 months, or if you have 2 months, or, even 1.5 months, first, give those 15-20 days or maybe 30 days, depending on the time that you have, in understanding, these topics and doing the related questions only. Once you're done with all the topics, once you've learned all the approaches and you've done the related questions as well, then, I recommend that you start solving the test, right? So you go for another test now. So you have done all the topics and you'll go for another test. So what will happen? Obviously, chances are very low, minimal chances that you'll get to a 1500 in your first go. Obviously, that's not going to happen. For some, maybe it is going to happen. They may be very good with understanding the approaches, but normally that's not the case. Normally, if you start with 1100 and, if you work for 15-20 days or 1 month, you normally increase maybe 100 points or 150 points. That is, when you're doing on a very consistent basis everything and you're trying to understand properly, right? So you give another test, and you'll see the score. Maybe you get a 1200 or you get a 1300. Now what you have to do is, this is very important. Most of the students, they do not understand this part, and this is one of the most important aspects of the test. And I've been crying over it for more than a year now. And that is, the improvement does not lie in solving the practice tests repeatedly without putting in any brain. That is something you have to understand. There are many students who just keep on solving tests one after the other, and they're like, they don't put in any brain. They just keep on solving the test. And, along with solving the test, they're like, because they're not putting any brain, what happens is they normally do not get the score improvement that they want or they wish for, right? So what you have to do is, you have to be very careful. You have to first understand what your score is, and then you have to go for the most important aspect, and that is your score report. This is very, very important, right? Your score report is very important aspect of your test. You have to understand this, because normally students, they only think a score report as an indicator of the score, whereas the score report is the actual treasure. It is where your actual mistakes lie, right? So you have to analyze your score report and see the topics that you're actually faltering on now, right? And once you do that, I normally recommend that, you make a mistake journal, right? So you make a mistake journal, or sort of a, log, where what you do is, you just write down the number of the test or the module, and you just list down the errors that you have. So for example, in practice test number 2, you did the standard English convention questions wrong. Then in module 2, you did, for example, the problem solving wrong. Then maybe in module 1 of practice test 3, you did the algebra question wrong. And then in module 2, you did, for example, the craft and structure questions wrong, or maybe the words in context questions wrong. You just have to be as specific as you can be, right? So the type of question or the topic of question that you're doing wrong or that you're facing problem with, you can write that down and you can try to just make a list of it, right? So, if you do it with enough tests, you'll try to, you'll automatically see a pattern where you're going wrong. So what you have to do is, let's just go through it again. So you've taken a test, you've gone through all the topic. Once you've gone through all the topics and done, did the related questions, you have to move on to what? You have to move on to another test. Once you do that, what you have to do is you have to understand that, understanding the score report is crucial. Once you understand the score report, what you need to do is, you have to see how you have to go about it, where you have faltered. Make a mistake journal or a log where you write down all your mistakes, you write down all your errors over there, right? And now what you have to do is, the fourth step is work on your errors, right? So for example, if you feel like you're doing standard English convention questions wrong, you have to work on them again and again and again, right? And once you do that, you can just move on and you can solve another test. So you do another test and then you again analyze the score report and you repeat until you get enough improvement, right? So you have 6 tests on the blue book. You have all the information there. I will leave a link of a reading and writing in a math book maybe in the description, where you can find a book and you can study from that as well. And you can use the questions in the College Board. So College Board question bank, that is going to prove in very handy for you, right? Solve all the tests on the blue book. Then you can use outside material as well. There are many publishers who have their books published, and you can use their books as well, or you can use the application as well. You can use Chaajao as well. You can use Chaajao's practice zone as well. So we have the practice zone where you'll have many questions, thousands of questions, and you'll have video solutions for those questions as well. And you can use the recorded course as well. So, these are all the things, right? So practice zone plus the recorded course. So the recorded course will give you an understanding of all the topics like I told you, and it will help you, move towards the questions, and it will help you, stand strong on the questions and, with all the concepts that you need for it, right? So this is everything that, you can do on your own, right? And, move on with it. So although it is always advised to take professional help, to take, help from someone who is professional, who has been teaching SAT, who has been coaching for SAT. If you want to, study on your own, this is a plan. And, if you repeat the process that I told you enough times, if you solve a test, analyze the score report, analyze your mistakes, work on your mistakes, then solve another test. So when you solve another test, you consciously make sure that you do not repeat the mistake that you did, especially in the previous test. So if you keep on doing it, keep on, maintaining that journal, keep on writing down your mistakes and working on them, soon you'll see, maybe in a month or 1.5 months, you'll see that you'll have that improvement of maybe, 100 points or 150 points. So that is something that you're going to get once you do that. So that is a plan. If you want to self-study, you can use this plan, and that is how you can start, and that is how you can go on with it. And hopefully it is going to benefit you a lot. So until next time, thank you so much. I'm going to, come up with more videos that will help you solve your questions and move on with it and get the score that you want. For, regular updates, I would really want that, it would be really nice and amazing if you can just, subscribe to our channel and even, click the bell icon so that you can get regular updates for all the videos that we share. Thank you so much.